Hey, what's up guys? In today's video, we're going to be going over some interesting PlayStation news. If that sounds interesting, leave a like on the video and consider subscribing if you're new. It really helps the channel grow. The first topic of the video has to do with the new update for the GTA Trilogy. This is coming from Game Rant and it reads, GTA Trilogy 1.03 update makes massive improvements to all three games. Rockstar Games releases a new update for Grand Theft Auto The Trilogy, the Definitive Edition, that makes massive improvements. It's no secret that Grand Theft Auto The Trilogy, the Definitive Edition, launched in a poor state, with players reporting a wide range of problems with all three games in the trilogy. Rockstar Games has promised to make things right by improving the Grand Theft Auto trilogy with updates to address fan feedback, and now one of the game's most significant post-launch updates to date is available to download across most platforms. Grand Theft Auto The Trilogy Update 1.03 fixes a wide range of problems across PC, PlayStation, and Xbox. Unfortunately, the GTA Trilogy Switch port is left out at this time for unknown reasons. In any case, those on PC, PlayStation, and Xbox have a lot of fixes to look forward to when they download the 1.03 update, as it tackles some of the more egregious problems plaguing the new versions of GTA 3, Vice City, and San Andreas. The Grand Theft Auto Trilogy update makes stability improvements, adds a new cinematic camera, and fixes the various misspellings throughout all three games. Update 1.03 also addresses the overbearing GTA Trilogy rain effects, so now rain should look significantly improved across the trilogy. But Rockstar did much more than fix the rain effects. The new update tackles some of the other big complaints fans have about the collection. For example, GTA San Andreas draw distance has been criticized in the Definitive Edition, as the lack of fog made the map look much smaller. To address this, GTA Trilogy players now have the option to toggle on ground haze, which should make GTA San Andreas Definitive Edition look a lot more like the original. Fans will also be happy to learn that the menu sound effects for GTA 3 and Grand Theft Auto Vice City has been restored. Originally, GTA 3 Definitive Edition and Vice City Definitive Edition used the menu sound effects from San Andreas, which fans found distracting enough that it didn't take long for mods to come out to fix it. Now GTA Trilogy users don't have to download mods to get the menu sounds back. There may still be a long way to go to completely fix all of the GTA Trilogy glitches and other lingering problems, but this update is a massive improvement nevertheless. It seems Rockstar Games is serious about making sure GTA Trilogy lives up to its fans' expectations. Here's hoping Switch gamers don't have to wait long to get their version of the update. So there is, further down in this article, like bullet points on every single update for each console, and I'm not going to read it off, but I will leave the article link down below in case you want to check it out for yourself. I mean, this is very good news for the game. I don't really care because I'm still not going to pick up the trilogy. I want to vote with my wallet, and I feel like Rockstar doesn't deserve my money. I still hate that companies rush games out just to make money and then they fix the game later, you know? I mean, like, I think that's a terrible practice, and I don't think Rockstar should get like a standing ovation for what they're doing, because the game should have launched in a better state, you know, and the game's been out for what, a couple weeks now, and now it's finally getting like its major first update. So I mean, I wanted to play this trilogy, but the way this whole like trilogy launched and the way Rockstar has like not really owned up to what they've done, you know, and they're pretty much like, oh, we're sorry, we'll make the game better, please give us your money. I just don't think that's cool, you know? I mean, this is the least that Rockstar could do. I mean, the least they could do is fix their own broken game. What do you guys think? Have you guys been able to check out this new update if you have played this trilogy? And if you have, let me know if it actually is as big of an update as Rockstar apparently makes it seem to be. Moving on to the next topic of the video, we're going to be talking about a new gameplay footage that has been revealed for Elden Ring. This is coming from Game Rant and it reads, Elden Ring shows brief new gameplay footage. Elden Ring shares a brief gameplay video drawing attention to the many morally ambiguous options that await players in the upcoming title. Although From Software's various Souls-likes aren't really a series or even a franchise, the developer's loyal fan community may be one of the most steadfast fan bases for a currently active game studio. As the release date for its latest Dark Fantasy Souls-like offering, Elden Ring, draws closer, tension continues to build in the fan community. A recent post from the developer showcasing a brief glimpse of Elden Ring's gameplay showcases this rising excitement. Elden Ring is planned to be the closest to an open-world Souls-like that From Software has ever created. There's already plenty of Elden Ring gameplay footage showcasing players wandering across some of the game's sprawling environments. The verified official Elden Ring Twitter account shared a short post with an accompanying 15-second long gameplay video embedded in it. The post appears to be related to the number of options players will encounter in Elden Ring. Namely, it addresses the fact that the Tarnished will have many paths before them. As with George R.R. Martin's Game of Thrones franchise, not all of these choices will lead to paths of valor. In the video, a player character is shown seated at the edge of what seems to be a carved stone monument as the camera slowly pulls back, revealing an increasingly barren forest beneath them. Elden Ring's world and mythos were created by George R.R. Martin, who is exceptionally well known for his ability to craft dysfunctional medieval dynasties, and its story will be directed by Hidetaka Miyazaki, who was at the helm of most of From Software's Souls-like titles. With these two in charge of the game's story and setting, it's not exactly a surprise to learn that Elden Ring will feature options for players to be less than heroic. Many previous From Software games gave players multiple endings to choose from, but Elden Ring's apparent emphasis on journeys rather than outcomes may imply that it will feature a more complex branching narrative. As of writing, it appears that fans are excited about the possibilities suggested by this post. Several users replied with memes declaring their intent to lose themselves in Elden Ring's lore as soon as possible, while others celebrated the fact that a new tweet had been posted by the account. One user declared that a photo mode would be a welcome addition to the game, possibly spurred on by the gorgeous but unsettling view shown off in the video. So I know this isn't that much of an update as far as the game itself, but I haven't seen this gameplay clip on Twitter. I don't need to see any more gameplay for Elden Ring. I'm already sold. I've recently gotten into Demon Souls and Dark Souls 3, and I really like the Souls games. And the fact that George R.R. Martin pretty much created like the world and like the enemies and kind of like the narrative for this game already sold me on because of Game of Thrones, you know, and what I've seen from the game itself, it looks, you know, like a regular Souls game, except it's going to be open world. So for those of you who have seen this new gameplay footage, let me know down below how you felt about it. Are you in any way persuaded one way or the other? Did it make you want to pick this game up, or did it turn you off, or were you already sold on the game to begin with? Moving on to the final topic of the video, we're going to be talking about an update for the next-gen versions of Witcher 3 and Cyberpunk 2077. This is coming from GameRant, and it reads, CD Projekt Red narrows down Cyberpunk 2077 Witcher 3 next-gen release windows. CD Projekt Red reveals the release window for the Witcher 3 and Cyberpunk 2077's next-gen versions, as well as details about the game's future. A game that's been a hot topic ever since its announcement in May 2012, Cyberpunk 2077 released last December with a lot of excitement and hype around it, though its launch was less than ideal. It's no secret that Cyberpunk 2077 had a plethora of issues running on older console generations at launch, but over the course of last year, the development team of Cyberpunk 2077 has devoted their time to fix and eliminate these problems from all versions of the game. And now CD Projekt Red is looking to the future. CD Projekt Red has narrowed down the release window for Cyberpunk 2077's next generation console version, set to launch in the first quarter of 2022 on an unspecified date, shortly followed by the next-gen release of The Witcher 3 in the second quarter of 2022. In addition to releasing Cyberpunk 2077 for the next console generation, CD Projekt Red remains committed on providing the game with the polish it sorely needed at launch, as well as expanding on the development team working on it, with the promise of delivering a major Cyberpunk 2077 update in the near future. With no specific dates given for either the update or the expansion, the original plans for providing the game with rapid post-launch content support seem to have been put on hold or otherwise staggered by the work needed to smooth out Cyberpunk 2077's rough edges. Though the fruits of CD Projekt Red's labor on Cyberpunk 2077 started a redemption story for the game, with new players picking up the game in its much more stable state, it's clear that the journey has only just begun. Players and fans of the game seem cautiously excited for what the future holds for Cyberpunk 2077. Yet despite this, the game still has some glaring features missing that most would consider major quality of life additions. Namely, the players are disappointed that the game still lacks any way to change the protagonist V's appearance after the character creation screen, as well as the lack of having a transmogrification system for the numerous items of clothing found in Night City, which Cyberpunk 2077 treats solely as bits of armor rather than the fashion statement they were marketed to be. Hopefully, the fanbase will get some of these oft-requested features in the upcoming update, as signs point that the developers still have plans for Night City and will keep supporting the game for years after its launch. My opinion on this is pretty much the same as the GTA Trilogy. You know, if CD Projekt Red just delayed the game out of 2020, and actually made the game launch in a state that it should have launched in, then this wouldn't even be a thing, Like, we should already have the next gen versions of Cyberpunk, I mean, like a week or two ago, there was an update where Cyberpunk said over time, Cyberpunk will become a great game, and obviously that's going to happen because if they actually put in all the expansions and fix all the bugs and glitches and turn the game into what it was supposed to be when it first launched, then of course it's going to be a great game. And we still don't have like day and date releases for these next gen versions of Cyberpunk or Witcher 3, but apparently Cyberpunk is going to be releasing in the first quarter of next year, and then followed in the second quarter with the Witcher 3 PS5 version, which honestly I'm kind of more curious about the Witcher 3 version because I've always wanted to play that game, and even though I never really got into it because it was pretty difficult for me. So I wonder what like a PS5 version would look for that game. I feel like it probably won't be that impressive because they're probably going to spend most of their time working on this next gen version and all these expansions and updates and like fixing the bugs for Cyberpunk. So that actually might end up hurting the next gen version of Witcher 3, but like I said earlier, if CD Projekt Red just delayed Cyberpunk to begin with, and like let's say maybe it's about to release now or a few months ago, then this game probably would have easily won Game of the Year this year and probably would have been one of the greatest games of all time, like it was marketed. So hopefully CD Projekt Red has learned from their mistakes, which, I mean, based off their social media posts, it seems like, at least the way they're talking, which is usually just PR, like trying to keep their good reputation, like they're trying to fix the game. So, I mean, we will see. Once because if the next gen version of Cyberpunk comes out and it's broken, oh man, I can't even imagine how, not just like Cyberpunk fans, but just like gaming fans in general, like, CD Projekt Red might not, like, they actually might not ever recover from that. And they are an independent studio. So, I mean, if for some reason, if these next gen versions of Cyberpunk and The Witcher 3 come out and they're broken, who knows? Maybe the investors might pull out and maybe they'll have to sell their company, But hopefully it doesn't get to that point. Thank you guys so much for watching. I really do appreciate it. If you enjoyed this video, give it a thumbs up and consider subscribing and turning on the post notification bell so you don't miss my next upload. Until next time, guys, take care.